Hey, Paul, thanks so much for joining me. I know that you recently published a pamphlet in Pendle Hill's Pamphlet series, which, by the way, is celebrating its 90th year anniversary next year. So I'm wondering if you could tell us a bit about your pamphlet.
Sure. This is called Quaker Testimony, What We Witnessed to the World. A lovely shade of green. And it's it comes in two parts. First part really is a history of testimony among friends going back to the 1650s and following that forward, showing how testimonies have changed over the course of our 350 plus years as a religious society. The second half then is more focused on the last 50, 60 years, looking at how the particular formulation of testimonies, which is frequently referred to as the spices, has come into use and has changed, and how I see it affecting the Society of Friends today.
And I think lots of people have thoughts about that as well. So what was it that led you to write about this topic or to write this pamphlet now?
Well, I've had an interest in the unique characteristic of testimonies for friends, the way they function within the Society of Friends, and how they have, in a sense, taken the place of a creed, which kind of bothered me. We say we're non-creedal, but then we do these things that kind of feel like a creed. And in particular, the way that the spices, simplicity, integrity, etc., have taken over a certain place within the Society of Friends. And I wanted to examine that with the reader and see whether we needed to change course.
And what is it that you're hoping your readers might gain from this? Or what is something that you're looking forward to your readers gaining from this pamphlet?
Well, I think just knowing what a testimony is, that it is a way of witnessing, is kind of fundamental. But the relationship between a testimony and our tradition of continuing revelation as it relates to single individuals. How we are called to witness to the world, each of us individually, and then as a society.
I wonder if you might give us a teaser.
I can read something to you, if that would be okay.
That would be lovely.
There's a little section. This is on page 2, so you're close to the beginning, and there's a section headed "What is a testimony?" In common usage today, a testimony is a statement given in a court of law. It is the evidence a witness has witnessed. In earlier times, testimony often referred to a statement of faith. An example is found in the title of one of George Fox's pamphlets, "A Testimony of the True Light of the World." But neither of these definitions quite fits what 21st century friends mean when we talk about Quaker testimonies. Our usage has roots in appeals such as Fox made in 1661 in Epistle 200. "Let your life preach, let your light shine, that your works may be seen." In other words, a testimony is an act that publicly witnesses or testifies to an aspect of our most basic spiritual beliefs. It is an outward expression of something that the inward light has revealed to an individual or a group of people.
It's a helpful introduction, actually. And of course, when we think of testimonies, we immediately, I think many of us go to spices. And I know that you had mentioned that you explore this topic a little bit in your pamphlet. Well, quite extensively, actually. Section 2 is on the spices. Is there a way that, or maybe I should say, how is it that you explore this topic in your pamphlet, as it is such a large topic?
Well, as is my wont, I started out by doing a little history. When did it start? Who did it? Who used it initially? How has it changed over time? And it's got an interesting history. It goes back to 1940s in a Pendle Hill pamphlet by Howard Brenton. Although it wasn't full-blown spices, he talked about 4 characteristics that he described as social testimonies: community, harmony. I can't remember.
There's so many.
I should know this guy. 4 is, yeah, it's easy. But then over time, it developed into something more. And in particular, in the late 90s or the early aughts, it got used as an educational tool, a way of introducing friends' beliefs on a very, very elementary level. But then more recently, I think it's come to be more creed-like, more a list of, here are the things, memorize these and you got it. Rather than an introduction and an invitation into what it means to be a friend, it became, here's what it means to be a friend. I don't know, is that good enough?
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what your question was.
No, it's really helpful. And I think too that you had gone into a little bit, or you had given an example in your pamphlet about how there was a meeting that you were part of that got caught up in the spices in a little bit of a constricting way.
Where is that? Is that? Well, I'm not going to try and find it in the pamphlet. I'll just tell you.
That sounds great.
This is a couple decades ago, and I was in Illinois yearly meeting at the time, and we commonly only talked about spice at that point in Illinois. Simplicity, peace, integrity, community, and equality. And there were people who were involved in the environmental movement who felt like, well, they're getting short shrift out of this, that sustainability or stewardship was important as those other things, and that we needed to add that to the official list. And we actually spent time in yearly meeting on the business session, quite a bit of time, debating whether or not we could add this. Because, it's not just Illinois yearly meeting. This belongs to the Society of Friends. And it occurred to me, well, why is this the official list? Who makes this the official list? There's no government, there's no pope. There's nobody to issue an encyclical and say, stewardship is one of the testimonies, the official testimonies. And we spent time and effort on it, and it got me to thinking, well, what about this list? Is it intended to be a definitional statement? What about joy? Isn't joy a fundamental Quaker testimony? I know historically we weren't known for our joy, but it should be. Love should be in there. Awe is one of our testimonies. And those are some of the things actually that led me to write this pamphlet.
Well, that's a long acronym that you're asking for.
It is. And the truth is that there is no acronym. 6 is not enough, 10 is not enough, 100 is not enough. Testimonies are myriad, and they should all just be statements of our own personal witness to what God has called us to.
Mm-hmm.
If I was summarizing, I would say that we each are called to a particular thing by the divine. We each have our unique calling, and our testimony is how we respond to that calling.
Mm.
And so limiting it to 6 doesn't do the job. Fundamentally, it's integrity. It's what has God called me to do? What has the inward light illuminated within me that I should be doing with my life? And am I engaging in that activity? And it has nothing to do with what you are called to or with anybody else is called to. It's just, what are you supposed to witness?
Well said. And I think that you wrap this up really well too in your pamphlet. There's something at the very end, a section called Living with Virtue, that I think is such a nice way to send folks off after reading through all of the context that you provide, all of the discussions that you engage us in as readers. Do you think you might mind sharing a little bit of your closing thoughts?
This is on page 30, almost at the end. What I'm asking is for each of us to answer a very old challenge, one issued by George Fox. What canst thou say? We like this question and frequently ask it without remembering the next sentence. Art thou a child of light and hast walked in the light, and what thou speakest, is it inwardly from God? Fox telegraphed the answer to the first question in those following queries. He was not asking, what do you think? To better teach our children about Quaker values and answer the newcomer's question about beliefs, we each need to ask ourselves, how do I testify? Am I a child of the light? Have I walked in the light? And what I do, is it inwardly from the light? There's no single right answer to these questions. We each have to do the work to answer them for ourselves. We can look to another event in the life of George Fox for a model answer. Earlier, I stated his reply when the parliamentary commissioners attempted to recruit him to their army. He said he lived in the virtue of that life and power that took away the occasion of all wars. I confess that I frequently remembered his answer as, I lived in the life and power that took away the occasion of all wars, dropping the reference to virtue. What's left makes it seem that Fox is speaking of his own life and power. Not so. As mentioned above, the word virtue in that time and context referred to the power or operative influence inherent in a supernatural being. You could restate Fox's answer as, God doesn't want me to. This is quite different from me saying, I could not serve in the military because of the Quaker peace testimony, or that I tried to be truthful because of the testimony of integrity. My answer in each case is that I act as I do because the light within points the way, and when I am faithful, I follow my guide.
What a fantastic way to tie a bow on that very large topic. I wanted to just tell you that I have enjoyed reading your pamphlet so much, and folks can actually get their own copy to enjoy at pendlehill.org in the shop, or getting an ebook on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And folks can also purchase a pamphlet subscription at pendlehill.org so you never miss a copy. So I really hope that everyone gets a chance to read this beautiful work. Paul, thank you so much for your wonderful pamphlet, and thank you so much for joining me today.
It's been a delight. Thank you.
Thank you.